basic mathematical answers in MATLAB. In today's lecture, we will going to cover what kind of files or which kind of files we are using in MATLAB. So basically, we have working with files in MATLAB. So we have basically two types of files in working with MATLAB. First is scripts and second are functions. So as we done earlier before, type edit space file name to open a file of as your mention name in editor. So this code will create an editor for you of a particular file name which you give to the command prompt. So coming to the next point, it says the MATLAB files are of two types, scripts and functions. And besides of my lectures and NPTELs, you can go for the official MATLAB website for this topic, how to write a MATLAB program with scripts and various kind of functions. So MATLAB files are, as I told you before, are of two types, scripts and functions. So coming on the scripts, what are actually scripts? Scripts basically contains a sequence of MATLAB commands which executes um, one by one, or basically which executes the first command and after the second command. So MATLAB statements are executed as if typed on command prompt. Okay, so I will give you the example that how the scripts files are working. So coming to the our MATLAB. So let's as you know before, we write a file named Fibonacci is series or in for using while loop and for loop. We had done that files commands in scripts files. Okay, we never done that in function files. So let's call them one of them file. Let's I called like ball vertical. Okay, sorry, it is called, let's call the edit ball vertical. Let's call it and see how the script files are really working. So as you can see at here, the this is the format of a script files, which basically starts with the variables, then the conditions are given. All these conditions are predefined and executes one after one. So as you can see, first we define y, then v naught, initial velocity, then time, then gravity. First these variables are executed, and after then this condition has been executed, and then this commands and this various statements are executed, and then it's the end of this script file. So this is the kind of script files format which we had done before in the previous lectures. Likewise we had let's call the another file, let's call the uh, Fib- let's call the Fibonacci. So it is also an another example of script file. We write that code in a script file in Fibonacci series. Okay, so we had already done that. So coming to the next slide. So skip the function. Now coming to the function, what are the functions? Function files are that taken inputs and then executes the steps and then returns outputs, and the end statements are MATLAB statements are executed in functions on variable space. So this is the line which you will know after this lecture end. Okay, so how the function file look alike, how what are the structure, or of what are the structure of function file. So let's call the edit file. Okay, so this is the editor of a MATLAB program. So what we have to done to make this function file, I will not recommended you to do that because it will lost is variable in workspace for you converting into a function file. So what we have to done, basically we have to put a function command over it before the execution of statements and put the function files, and then like this is the function for ball vertical and function file ball vertical. So now this would become a function file now, after the script file. So this is the function file, and of ball vertical dot m. Okay, as going before, yeah, coming to the next run. So this is the basically a difference between variables, like difference of variables in scripts and function files. Script shares the variables with workspace from where it was called. Typically, that means MATLAB workspace. So let, let me show how this is working actually. So as you can see, right before, this was the program for the ball vertical, and we have the variable y, v naught, t and g variable at in this program. So let me take out this, and no changes. And as you can see, with ball vertical we have all that variable which we used in editor. We have that all variables in the workspace also. So it basically deals, or is basically, scripts are basically what shares their variables with the workspace of also. And whether the function did not share their variables with workspace, they have their own workspace, which is the have the local scope of variables. So as I mentioned, function has its own workspace, and variables used in a function have local scope, which means variables did not share their work with workspace in function. So coming to the next point, what function structure look alike? So we have the function will go through, or will talk through input and output variables. This is a kind of functions structure we have. So let me take you the um, editor. Editor. This is the function to edit, is the function to call editor. Edit space uh, my func, let's call it. So it's create a myfunc.m file in the editor. .m basically as an extension of this file, which basically means it is a file of MATLAB variable. Okay, so function, we will call the function structure will look like, we have to first put out the function, then space, and then a square bracket that will contain the outputs in it. Okay, so let me take out the output 1 comma output 2, um, is equal to function name, and then input 1 comma input 2. So this is the, now this is the uh, 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 structure of a function, how it looks like. In this function we have two variables, input variables and output variables in the function. Okay, so both are the optional. We can, if we don't have input variable, we just simply clear that out and just write function name, function name. Then this is a function name. Okay, and if we don't have output variable, but if we have input variable, we first input 1 comma input 2 and so on. And what we don't have output, we will simply clear that screen, and this would be our new function file which don't have output but have input. And but if we don't have both of input variable and output variable, we will simply clear them out and simply equal to the function is equals to my function file. Okay, so this is the kind of format of function file. Remember one thing, we have input variable and output variable are optional. We have input variable, maybe we have input variable or maybe not. So be careful with that. And while working on MATLAB, we should very careful about the uppercase and lowercase, because the commands in using in MATLAB are very case sensitive. Okay, so coming to the next point. We have a lot of things. So, as I told you before, that when we were working on script file, we can use or we can share its variable in the workspace also, but we cannot share its variable while we are working on the function file. So let me take you the example. Um, let's call that ball vertical function. Um, so So this is the ball vertical functions which we have, which are basically in script just before this. And if I put a function command over there and just save it, let's go and save it and just let me clear all the workspace. Now, and what happened if I call that ball vertical command now? What would happen? As you can see, we have it was just a mistake to let's call that function again and put this ball vertical function file over it here. And enter. And just save it. Now call ball vertical, and as you can see, we don't have the variables are shown in a workspace. Basically, we have just vanished the variables of a script files while we are converting that script files into a function file. So basically, this point has come true, that the script shares the variables with workspace from where it was called, and function does not share its variable with the workspace. So basically it will got vanished the variables from the workspace in while we are working on function files. So we are coming to the some examples of scripts and function. We will do, okay. So we will first write a program to find the factorial of a given number, a natural number, in a script file, and we will code a function file to calculate the summation of C0, C1, C1, C2, and so on, Cn, the constants. Such functions are very commonly used to calculate the physical properties of a fluid. And so now today we will consider a simple case of C0 is equals to 1 and Cm is equals to 1 over m. So let's call the first file in script files to calculate the factorial of a number. So let me clear the screen first. So okay, so now edit factorial and enter. So let's create the missing file. Let's create the another edit fact capital N. So as you can see, it creates the file called fact N, and let's put a comment over here. Um, Factorial of a number 6. Let's take example number 6, factorial of a number 6 using script file. So let me initiate the number is equals to 6. First we have to initiate the number 6. Okay. Now coming to the next window, we will have to do, so we just initiated it with an n, and now coming to the fact value, fact value is equal to I, fact value is equal to I, and let's use the for loop. For I is equals to 1 colon 6, because we are using extracting it from 1 to 6. And now fact value is equal to fact value into I, and we want to end this. So this is the what will this file will doing it using, sorry. Okay, so what will this file be using? It gives we just initiate it with numbers number 6 and fact value variable with I, and now we just initiate a for loop with colon 1 to 6. So what will going to be happen at here, the first fact value, which is I, and I is equals to, from it will start from 1. So first going to 1 into 1, basically we do 1, we get the 1 and 8 here, and then the function will go over 8 the 2. Now the function value becomes, the function value become 1, and the fact value become 1 and 2. So the next thing will be going to 1 multiply by 2 multiply by 3 multiply by 4 multiply by 4, 5, and so on, until the and condition have got reached at here. Okay, so let me take you the let's let, let's save this file fact10, and coming to the our, and now call that file, which was fact capital N, and we have the fact capital N add here. And now the workspace had filled up with the variables we got used in the editor. So call the fact value, and now this is the kind of values we got at here, which is not basically similar to the our answer, which we have to find that out. So what was our mistake we made in a editor? So let's again go to the edit factor. What the mistake we have done, we just not initialize fact value with I. We have to initialize it with n, sorry, with 1. We did not get initialized it with a value n. So first value will go n, and then I goes to 1 to 6. Okay, so this will going to be happen. Control save the file, and now hopefully we will get our answer. Call fact n, and call the fact value variable, and as you can see, our fact value had got its a summation of 1 into 2 into 3 into 6. Let's satisfy this with another method. Let's call 1 colon 6 8 here, and got answer prod ans, and here you can see the both value has a similar, so we have our code was successfully run, and we got initiated it in a good manner. Okay, so let you but the one thing remains hectic for me, that I don't want to use for loop at here. So what I can do for this, I don't want to use for loop at here. So what's the another method that I can use to in order to get the prod of the 1 colon 6? What I can do? So let me show you what the other method that we can use for this. So in order to execute a more relatable answer, and we won't use the for loop, we will just simply put a fact value is equal to we will use a array function called prod, which will help us to count the okay. So this command will help me to count the factorial of 1 over 6. Okay. So basically what we had done, we just deleted the for loop and write a new array function called prod. So let's save it and see how it's worked or not. So again we will call the fact n, and we get the ans at here, the call fact value, and here you can see it gave us the similar answer which you have come through for loop. We had done this factorial example in the script file because it does not start with function command. When a file is starting with the function command, it is basically called a function file, and it does not is remains a script file. So we had, so as you can see, added fact and was it was a script file, not a function file, because it does not start with the function command in command prompt. So coming to the next example, which is an example of a function file, which we will do in tomorrow's day lecture. So we will do it in tomorrow's day lecture, and see how the function file works and what are the precautions we have to kept in our mind while we are using the function file or the function command at here. Till then, good night and bye bye.